of the PiLAF brown bag series. Uh, may I please crave our indulgence to give other participants maybe about 5 minutes to join in so that we can kickstart fully. Can I get a thumbs up if you can all hear me? If I am audible enough, can I get a reaction? Maybe a thumbs up. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So once again, let's give others the opportunity of say 5 or 4 minutes thereabout for them to join in so that we start uh, the series properly. Thank you. All right. Good afternoon once again from wherever across the globe that you're joining us. Uh, I want to welcome us all on behalf of our principal investigators here at PiLAF to the 15th edition of PiLAF's Brown Bag Series. The Brown Bag Series is where we discuss topical issues that relate to agriculture and food security, where we bring in subject matter experts to tell us their experiences, results of research, and information, quality information that can help us move the agriculture and food security sectors in Nigeria and elsewhere in the world forward. The last edition, which was the 14th edition, we had a very interesting discussion. We had two experts that talked to us on gender integration and gender mainstreaming in agricultural policies in Nigeria. They used two frameworks, that's the GAPO by the FAO and the ProWare by IFPRI, to analyze two critical agricultural policies in Nigeria. Also today, it wouldn't be less exciting, it will be very exciting. We have a very seasoned person that will be talking to us, and she is going to be touching on the subject of digital agricultural extension services, policy imperatives for transforming rural farmer advisory systems in Nigeria. That it's been a long-standing challenge for the agricultural sector in Nigeria, wherein we have fewer extension agents by the day. In fact, in Nigeria, the ratio of extension agents to farmers is about 1 to 5,000 currently. And we know that digital extension is poised to fill this gap. So I would want to invite my colleague to please introduce our speaker for today, Mrs. Damilola Olajubutu. Can you please come in, Mercy?
Good day, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I'll be reading Mrs. Damilola Olajubutu's bio shortly. But before that, I want us to note the questions we might have during the course of our presentation. Let's note it, we might make use of the chat box to type in our questions so that as soon as she's done with the presentation, we can treat the questions accordingly. Damilola Olajubutu is a distinguished rural development and public policy expert whose innovative approach has transformed outcomes for underserved communities. With an exceptional academic foundation, she earned both her first and second degrees in agricultural extension and rural development from the University of Ibadan, Nigeria, graduating as the top student at each level. She is currently advancing her expertise through doctoral studies in public policy at Oregon State University, United States of America. Driven by a commitment to sustainable solutions for rural development challenges, Damilola founded the Rural Nurture Initiative, RNI, where she serves as the executive director. Her expertise and thought leadership have garnered international attention, including speaking engagements at the United Nations and international conferences, with extensive coverage by the major Nigerian media outlets, including TVC News, Punch, Vanguard, Guardian, The Nation, Premium Times, and Nigerian Tribune. Damilola's expertise has been recognized through her appointment to the Benton County Environment and Natural Resources Advisory Committee, NRAC, in Oregon, USA. Her previous role as a researcher with the USAID-funded Innovation Lab for Policy Leadership in Agriculture and Food Security, PiLAF, demonstrates a collaborative approach to policy research in agriculture and food security. Damilola's dedication to excellence has garnered numerous accolades. Among others, she was recognized as one of the top 50 women leaders in Oregon for 2023 and 2024, received the Oregon Fellowship for International Research in 2025 and the ESE Research Creative Activities Grant in 2025. She also won the Best Poster Award at the 13th Annual Pacific Northwest Water Research Symposium in 2023 in the United States. She was also a recipient of the prestigious Oregon State University's Provost Distinguished Graduate Fellowship in 2023 and also received the RNI Exemplary Leadership Award in 2021, after which she emerged as the Union Rice Challenge winner in 2020. In 2019, she was recognized as the best graduating master's student and was previously awarded the Departmental Prize and ZAD scholarships for the best graduating undergraduate student for 2013-2014 academic session at the Department of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development, University of Ibadan, Nigeria. In this presentation, Damilola Olajubutu will explore how digital agricultural extension can transform rural farmer advisory systems through 5 critical policy frameworks. Firstly, infrastructure development, multi-stakeholder coordination, content localization, capacity building, and financial sustainability. Please welcome with me Damilola Olajubutu.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Mercy. Thank you, PiLAF. Thank you, everyone for having me. I mean, as Mercy was reading the citation, I just felt like, nah, this is home. And at home, you remain humble. Like, my mentors are here on this call, and I feel like, no, I'm just loyal. And yeah, so thank you so much, PiLAF. Thanks for having me. As Mercy already said, I'm Damilola Olajubutu. I'm the founder and executive director of Rural Nurture Initiative, a non-governmental organization working to facilitate inclusive and sustainable rural development in Africa. And currently, I'm doing my PhD in public policy at Oregon State University. And it's actually interesting that my journey in public policy started at PiLAF. You know, back in 2020, after PiLAF was established, I had the opportunity of working as a researcher, and I worked with PiLAF up until 2022 before I left for the US. And it's actually, I feel very honored to be back here to deliver this presentation, and I do not take this opportunity for granted. So I say a big thank you to the PiLAF team. Thank you so much, my organs, Mr. Edele, Dr. Shegun, Dr. Re, Professor Adekaya, Professor Denikiju, everybody at PiLAF, thank you so much. And of course, I'm a graduate of the Department of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development, University of Ibadan. So this feels like home. This feels so much like home. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and then we can get started. Just give me a minute. Can you see my screen? Messi, can you confirm if everyone can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right. All right, sounds good. So it's now on slideshow. Can you see this slideshow also?
Not yet.
Not okay. What's happening? Okay. So I have to. Is the slideshow up? Okay, let's not waste time. I'm just gonna work with this because it appears you guys can see my slides like in the slideshow format. Can you see it now?
No, it's not yet in the slideshow format.
Just give me a minute. I'm gonna let me go for an alternative view. Okay, so um, let's see, let's see, let's see. Would it be possible to share from your hand, Mercy? Are you is the technical team prepared to fill the gap? Because I don't know what's happening.
I think you can carry on with the way your screen was shared earlier, even though it's not on slideshow, but I think it's quite visible for everybody.
Okay, sounds
So
good then.
yes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. All right, so just give me a minute, then I'll bring it back up in a minute. Okay. All right. Okay, so once again, my job here today is simple. Making a presentation on digital agricultural extension services, policy imperative for transforming rural farmer advisory systems in Nigeria. Let me just give a backdrop to this. So my current dissertation is actually on the theme of digital agricultural extension services. Yeah, I'm looking at relevance and gender dynamics of these platforms. So this is something very related to my current research, and I'm actually very excited about sharing some of these insights with you all. Okay, so to get us started, I would want to start with something I believe every field worker is very conversant or familiar, with. Sometimes I try to call this the lamentation of a typical Nigerian farmer. And if you look at my screen, you would see that, these expressions that sometimes when on the field we hear from these farmers actually signifies two things. First is the state of agricultural productivity vis-a-vis climate effect, and secondly, the poor state of agricultural extension agents in the country. So just to read that, you typically hear statements from farmers like, oh, with this current rain and, weather situation, we are not sure of when to plant any longer. And even the extended agent that are supposed to come, give us information, they are not, very consistent in terms of their presence. And even when they come, sometimes they do not even have the kind of answers that we need, and as Dr. R said earlier, the gap that exists in the traditional extension system is actually, the reason for which digital agricultural extension is, very, very important, So to go further, I just want us to just look at data so that whatever we are discussing today is going to be evidence-based, and data-driven. It was actually projected that up to 33 million Nigerians would actually be in a food crisis in 2025. And as at March 2024, I have the reference list. I can always provide that after the study, and you can feel free to contact the PiLAF team. I'm going to prepare a separate material so that you can add something to still go through apart from the slides. All right. So, and food inflation rate as at March 2024 was, pegged at 40.5%. And of course, the annual inflation rate generally was about 34%. And, in the midst of all of this, our smallholder farmers, are very strategic when it comes to feeding the population. And when it comes to ending food insecurity in Nigeria, our smallholder farmers have a major role to play. However, they do not have the necessary, resources, knowledge, skills, to help them and navigate the current challenges, particularly climate, issue, and, even market instability. All of those, challenges are there. And unfortunately, our extension advisory system that is supposed to, like, bridge that gap, it's not very functional. Currently, Dr. said 1 to 5,000 ratio. So there are different statistics out there, but it's always ranges, from 1 to 2,000 to 1 to 10,000, farmer to extension agent ratio. In fact, interestingly, a press release by the Federal Ministry of, it used to be Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, but it's now Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Their current press release states that it is at 1 to 25,000. So whatever the statistics, the idea is that it is not currently efficient. The number of extension agents that we have serving Nigerian farmers currently are below 20,000 extension agents. And report has it that currently we lose up to 3.5 trillion naira, in agriculture, in the agricultural sector, solely, due to poor advisory services. I mean, all of these things, begs for an answer to how do we improve our agricultural extension systems. And for any significant improvement to take place, policy has a role to play. And when I say policy, not just on paper, but then implementation actions, paper backed up by actions. All right, so before we dive in deeper, I would want us to quickly take a poll, because I don't just want this presentation to be just about me just talking. I want it to be interactive. I want it to be engaging. I also want to hear from everyone. And yes, so right now, I want you to grab your phone, go to your browser, visit slido.com. When you get to slido.com, you can use the number on the screen to access the poll. So, or you simply just scan the QR code displayed on the screen. So I want you to do that real quick, because I'm gonna stop sharing this screen and share the Slido screen instead. So that would help us see the live results of whatever questions and interaction we'll be engaging in. So I'm going to give another 30 seconds, because we need to move fast. I have 45 minutes and there's a lot to be discussed today. So in 30 seconds, please, slido.com. Okay, I'll stop sharing. When we get to Slido, it's still going to display the same information. So just wait a minute. In case you're not able to capture it at this time, you will be able to do that soon. All right, so okay. All right. All right. So my first question for us would be, how would you rate Nigeria's current agricultural extension system's ability to meet farmers' needs? Poor, excellent, good, failing? I want to I want to listen to our perspective. I want to see what everyone has to say about our agricultural extension system. So I really want everybody to participate. So if you're on this call right now, please participate in this poll. 3 people so far, 4. I'm gonna give us 1 minute. We do not have all the time. As much as I want it to be very engaging, but we also have to move so fast. But the good thing is, at the end of this presentation, you can always request. I believe the PiLAF team will make it available. It should be on the PiLAF website. It should also be on RNI's website, so you can always get it after this presentation. But I want the interactive aspect to be a major part of our conversation. So 7, 8. I'm just gonna wait a little more. How many people do we have on the call currently? Let's see. We have about 67 people in person. So how many people are on the poll? Just 9. Ooh. We are not even 50% of the people on the call yet. So, okay, 11 people. So it's moving from failing. Currently, failing is leading the poll, followed by poor. Oh, someone says good. Wow, I like that. Oh, that's encouraging. That's encouraging. Okay. 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. Just visit slido.com. Type in the number, or you just simply scan the QR code. just go to your camera, like do as if you want to take a picture, then it's gonna, like, the link will pop up, then you can visit, directly. So in another 20 seconds, I might have to log the poll, or maybe I should just give us a little more time. It looks like more people are joining and taking the poll. Okay, but I'm sure we can see the result. I mean, a lot of people believe our agricultural extension system is failing, and that's it's currently unable to serve farmers' needs. Why some people believe, okay, it's just poor. I mean, of course, there are significant gaps and challenges, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's failing. But I think I'm very, whoever said good is very optimistic, and I join the person in that optimism. All right, so once we hit, okay, it's 20, so I might just have to like lock the poll so that we can move on, because I still have 2 more questions before we continue with the presentation. So I'll lock the poll right now. Don't worry, if you're not able to participate in this first one, we still have 2 more questions before we continue with the presentation. Then we have another poll later during the course of the presentation. All right, so 1 minute. Yeah. All right, so I just locked the poll, so nobody is able to vote any longer for this particular one. But yeah, as we can see, failing. A lot of us believe that our agricultural system is failing, which still kind of attached to everything we've been talking about. The poor extension system and the inability of the current inefficient extension to farmer ratio to serve farmers' needs in the country. So the next question would be, what do you think is the biggest barrier to digital agricultural extension adoption in Nigerian agriculture? Do you think it's infrastructure? Do you think it's digital literacy? Do you think it's content relevance? Or do you think it's costs? I want everyone. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, yeah. So please feel free. You can start. If you've logged into Slido earlier, it's just going to change what you can see. So you don't have to you don't have to revisit the website. Just stay on in, or you refresh your browser. It's going to bring it on. All right. So I think digital literacy is currently taking the lead, with 67% of the vote, followed by infrastructure, content relevance. Oh, no one is saying cost yet. Oh, okay. Interesting. So we have 13. Once we hit about 20, I would log this poll also, so we can move to the last one, then we can continue with the presentation. I hope that sounds good to everyone. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we are at 21. I'm gonna log the poll, and all right, so 57% of the voters believes that digital literacy is the biggest barrier to digital agricultural extension adoption, followed by infrastructure, followed by cost, then content relevance. I hope our policy advocates and our practitioners, I hope you're taking note of this, and this can also help us channel resources aright. Okay, so the last question for this poll before we continue with the presentation would be, in your own opinion, which stakeholder group do you think should lead Nigeria's digital extension transformation, digital agricultural extension transformation? Should it be the government, public-private partnership, private sector, or farmer organizations? Okay, so we are at 9 votes. So I'm gonna wait. Once we hit about 20, 21, then we'll continue. We can, move forward. Mm. Okay. Um, okay, so far we have 19 votes. We're just gonna end it here. I'm gonna lock the poll. But if you look at your screen, you'll see that a lot of people believe public-private partnership is the way to go. Oh, 70%. That's a very significant, statistics here. 73. Good. All right. So I'm gonna log the poll. I'll stop sharing. Then I'll proceed with my presentation. 1 minute. 1 minute. I'm not sure my screen. Okay. Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks to everyone who participated in the poll. And it's actually, very exciting to see everyone to orientation regarding the agricultural extension system, what we think about the state of things, what we think about, the biggest barrier, and what our perspectives are also about who should be leading the conversation. Yeah, thank you so much. All right, so right now, before we can even talk about the significance of or the way forward with regards to digital agricultural extension, it's important we identify the challenges that are inherent in the current system, which necessitates the need for us to pivot or upscale into like digital agricultural extension, right? So, and one important thing is this geographic and systemic challenges, a lot of geographical barriers. We see, our rural communities are very isolated and they are often marginalized. And, sometimes it's very difficult. The mobility is not there for extension agents to like access the rural communities. These are part of the issues, creating the extension failure that we currently have and the inefficiency, inherent in the system. Another thing is the one size fits all. We have different agroecological zones and, different conditions that requires, tailored, solutions. Then poor linkage between farmers and research institutions, and basically that is what extension is supposed to serve. That's the gap extension is supposed to bridge in the first place. However, this is still very much inefficient. Another thing is underfunding. It's interesting that agriculture contributes up to 23% of the GDP. However, it's the budget that has been allocated is just about 1.7%, and this figure is also very low, compared to what the AU, African Union, commitment is. So all African Union countries have actually made a commitment to allocate 10% of budget to agriculture, but Nigeria, we are still, falling short. We are still way behind that 10%, and I believe we can do better. Then another thing is capacity and knowledge gaps. Our farmers are largely illiterate. They do not have the knowledge and the skill sets, what it takes to be able to improve on the agricultural productivity. Indigenous knowledge, as much as it is good, it's not very it doesn't suffice, especially with this changing, climate and other, complexities that, makes agricultural systems to generally, fail. And yeah, even extension workers themselves are not very knowledgeable. Like some of the knowledge that we have are very outdated, and all of these things needs to be upgraded. And also youth migration is another big deal. Youths are moving to urban centers, which is affecting, labor availability and knowledge transfer. So I want to see this as an issue of 21st century challenges being addressed using 20th century agricultural systems, and that is why we really need to move digital. This age is a digital age, and digital transformation is very essential for us to be able to harness the opportunity in the agricultural sector. Be that as it may, even regardless of all the challenges, there's still vast opportunity in agriculture for us as a country. The National Information Technology Development Agency actually prepared a draft document in 2020, and I'm going to be document most of my presentation would actually draw from that document, because I saw a lot of synergy between my own personal orientation and what the document has actually put together. So I'm going to be speaking a lot to the document, vis-a-vis other resources. All right, so in the document there's a vision, to make Nigeria the top three, among the top three most food secure countries in Africa, and top 20 largest exporter of standard agricultural produce through the use and application of digital technologies and innovation. I mean, this sounds good. This is a very compelling vision that if we can actually make happen, Nigeria can actually lead Africa, the African continent. We can provide agricultural leadership for the entire continent. We have what it takes, to make this happen. And talking about potentials in agriculture, $40 billion in annual export alone is what is there for us to harness if we can get our agricultural systems right, particularly extension advisory system that is supposed to equip farmers with what they need to navigate, the shocks, vulnerabilities, and complexities that is, having adverse effect on their productivity. Cocoa bean, as it's a $4 to $5 million market, opportunity. Sesame seed, $170 million market. And it's also important, to note that even our arable lands that are being cultivated, we do not, like currently we have up to 40% of our arable land not being cultivated, because Nigeria generally we have 80% arable land. Amongst the from the 80%, just about half is being cultivated. So there's still a long to go. We still have a lot of grounds to cover, even as a nation, so that we can tap into all of these opportunities that are within the sector. Okay. All right, so yeah. So, and to make this happen, so far, there's been a lot of effort in terms of digital agricultural extension, some of which have been very fragmented, different efforts here and there, private sector, the government. The government has done quite a number of initiatives. We'll get to that in a bit. Private sectors, they've also, been very, very committed towards digital agricultural extension in Nigeria. And some of the tools that have actually been, used in time past, some have been very effective, some have been kind of sustained, some have not been sustained, because we always face the issue of policy abortion, especially with new administration. All right, but so far, USSD and SMS, interactive voice response, that particularly helps farmers listen to stuff in their local language. This I'm familiar, IR&T, used something like this at some point. I'm not sure if that initiative is still ongoing, but I know IR&T does something in this regard. Smartphones, there are a lot of smart apps, like mobile apps that are that are out there that farmers can leverage. Unfortunately, some of these apps, are not very useful or relevant to our rural farmers because of their level of literacy. WhatsApp is increasing, a lot of WhatsApp groups, people get information on WhatsApp. YouTube, advantage of YouTube is video extension. People can actually see, for themselves, what to be done, and how, the necessary knowledge can actually be acquired through visual means. Then also radio. I'm sure a lot of initiative has actually been implemented in terms of radio. Even ARD, Agric Extension and Rural Development, there was Agbelere program through which the department was reaching out to communities within Oyo State. And and of course there is the digital radio like MixLR and some other podcasts that farmers can also leverage. But be that as it may, they are still quite sophisticated for some of these like emerging technologies, especially AI chatbots. Now, a lot of youths, can actually just go to their WhatsApp. Even WhatsApp has AI, chatbot integrated. You can go on ChatGPT. You can go anywhere. Just get personalized and tailored, responses to like help. But all of these things, as good as they have, they are still, very, very way ahead of the knowledge capacity of our rural farmers. And okay, yeah. So I was talking earlier about some initiative that have actually been implemented. So in 2025, around early 2025, maybe March or so, the government actually launched the National Electronic Extension Platform, and that initiative is supposed to like provide farmers with information in local languages, also um, help them, ask questions and get tailored advices. I'm not sure how effective this has been, but one thing I know is that, it's in the press release of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, that this program was actually initiated and it's ongoing. And as I said earlier, the federal government pegs the ratio at 1 to 25,000. It's actually on their website. And yeah, a lot of private sectors have actually been very, very helpful. Thanks to private sectors, like quite a number of them, but these are just, some. Hello Tractor, Babangana, Kamfandi, Tribe Agri, just to mention a few, and quite a number of pilot programs that have actually been successful. Particularly, I want to talk about the e-voucher system that was actually used during ATA, Agricultural Transformation Agenda, during that policy era. The Growth Enhancement and Support Scheme, through which farmers got, improved distribution, through digital means. I mean, that initiative was actually a very good one, but as always with every new administration, policies get terminated. We face policy abortion a lot in this country, and I strongly believe that whatever works during an era should actually be adopted, in another era. And even if not adopted entirely, it can be adapted, with some modifications. All right, so yeah, so talking about all of these initiatives that have actually, been implemented, even with all of this initiative, right? We still have a large number of farmers that are still very unreached when it comes to extension services, and particularly digital agricultural extension. And some of the challenges has to do with infrastructure, like rural communities have limited. I mean, these days we know these things: no electricity, no internet connection. Smartphones are quite expensive compared to what some of these peasant farmers are earning, and also data costs. You have to get data from time to time before you can use the internet. Social and cultural barriers, particularly we've talked about literacy gaps earlier. Like farmers are not very educated, and so they cannot really handle the level of sophistication that comes with some of these digital innovations. Another thing is gender disparity. I mean, a lot of studies have shown that gender dynamics plays a major role when it comes to technology access in the country. Language is another thing, and thanks to initiatives that kind of provide information in different languages to farmers, we are gradually overcoming the barriers, but there are still farmers that are still very unreached because of language issues and language and also trust. A lot of times farmers have difficulty trusting anything that comes from the government, even private sector sometimes, and these are issues that we really need to overcome these challenges. Technical issues, policy, regulatory in terms of data privacy, all of these things are pretty much challenges that hinders digital agriculture from being saturating, for universal coverage for farmers, if I'll put it that way. Another major thing is agrological diversification, because we have diversities when it comes to our agroecological zone, and each of these zones needs localized solution. We cannot, as much as initiatives is coming from federal government, for example, the National Extension platform that was recently launched, it's very important that we factor in the agroecological diversity and ensure that different content is prepared for different zones, like localized advisory content for different zones. And climate change impacts everyone, but then the impact also can vary based on zones. These things needs to be factored in, and also whatever is also being put on in this platform should also take cognizance of cultural, cultural respect. Like whatever we are putting up there we should ensure that it aligns, with the cultural perspective of this of the farmers. So the essence of this whole thing is the fact that a one size approach that we have been talking about in the traditional extension system should also, like, we shouldn't import that same challenge into the digital extension. So even when we're thinking digital agricultural extension, we should also be thinking about local relevance. We should also be thinking about, how well it meets the needs of the farmers, and not it. I mean, it should be farmer centric, and not just the fact that, oh, we want to have technological sophistication, not just the fact that, oh, let it be on record that, oh, during this administration, this was the innovation that was actually promoted. This was the policy that was actually initiated. It's not just about having good policies or having good, innovations or initiatives. It's about meeting the needs of the farmers. It's about empowering farmers. It's about ensuring that the farmers are the core, they are the center of all of these initiatives. All right, so I want us to take another poll because I've been talking for a while. I just want us to quickly take another poll. Then we'll move into the policy imperatives proper of this. So far it's been more of providing background to the discussion. So in another 3 to 5 minutes, let's take a poll. Then we'll continue with the policy imperative proper. All right, so I'll stop sharing this screen, then I'll share the Slido screen. When we get to the Slido screen, you have this information also, so you can participate in the poll. Thank you. All right, so if you can see my screen, the poll is up. And yeah, so the first question is, how quickly do you think Nigeria can achieve 80% digital and extension coverage? No, we're not talking about 100% now. At least let's do 80%. Let's talk about 80%. How quickly do you think we can actually achieve 80% digital extension coverage? 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Very unlikely. I want to hear our perspective. So please visit slido.com, use the number on the screen, or you simply scan the QR code. So I'll be waiting for the first. Okay, 10 years. Okay, someone said 10 years, another person said 2 years. I mean, if we're aggressive about implementation and not just about having policies on paper or having technological sophistication, and for private sector, not just about having good idea to pitch to venture capitalists and get grants and capital, like funding for innovation, without actually meeting needs on the ground for farmers. All right, so another person says, okay, a lot of people, 10 years, 10 years, 10 years. Okay, so we have 4 votes. Any more votes coming in? We have to move fast. We have to move fast. Okay, maybe 30 seconds more. All right. Okay, I'm going to lock the poll for this so that we can move to the next question. But so far, about 67% says 10 years. Oh, some people are actually using the chat section of Google Meet also. Sounds good. All right, so the next question would be, if you add 100 billion naira for digital extension, what would be your top investment priority? Is it infrastructure development? Is it content and training? Is it additional technology platforms? Or is it coordination systems amongst the different fragmented initiatives that we have? Okay, someone says content and training. In fact, two people say content and training. Let's see, infrastructure development, 33%, 40%. Content and training now at 60%. So in another 30 to 45 seconds, we need to move fast. So we don't have all the time to for everybody to take the poll before we can move. Somebody said good coordination for, let me see if I can pull up the chat so I can read from there as well. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, someone said 10. Okay, good coordination for the existing technology. Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, so I'll log the poll, then we can. All right, but so far, 50% believes that infrastructure development, and 40% content and training, 10% coordination system. So I believe there's a general consensus on the fact that we do not necessarily need additional technology platform. Of course, we can improve our current ones, but maybe not extra, platforms. Maybe not. All right. So finally, on this poll, in one word, describe your vision for Nigeria's agricultural future with digital extension in just one word. So just type in that one word on Slido and it's going to pop up like a word cloud so we can see what everybody, I believe this one is very important. If you can, please go visit slido.com, type in your, okay, somebody says perspective. I like that. This is very optimistic and encouraging. All right, so more words. What's your vision? What's the vision for Nigeria's agricultural future with digital extension? Flourishing. That's good. I'm gonna give us a couple of, maybe like 1 minute for this so that we can have more words from some people are typing. Achieving excellence. That's 2 words too. But let's just assume it's a one. All right. So game changer. All right. Seamless, sustainable. I love this. Some persons are still typing. For those to come in, then you can. A place where rural farmers are digitally knowledgeable. So okay, thank you. That's how many words? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words. But thanks for let's keep it coming. Accessible, undisrupted. Someone has their hands raised. Okay. Okay, while the poll is up, let me see. I think I saw someone's hand raised. Was that a mistake or is that an intentional act? Okay, I guess it was. Okay, Aisha Gambo, is there anything? Although we'll still take questions and answer, we'll take questions later, but is there anything you really want to like chip in at this time? Or do you want to put it in the chat box? Okay, I guess that was a mistake. All right, sounds good. All right, so we have quite a number of visionaries. All right, so game changer, improving infrastructure facilities, seamless, undisrupted, impactful, accessible, empowerment, sustainable, prospective, flourishing, achieving excellence, connect. And yeah, this is our collective vision. And we believe that, with the right policies and the right implementation strategies, and the right efforts, from each and every one of us, we're going to make this happen. Empowerment. All right, thank you. I'm going to lock the poll now. All right. Thank you so much for voting. Thanks to everyone who participated in the poll. So, it's obvious we all want to see, our system work. We want to see our agricultural extension system work. And we know that digital technology definitely has a significant role to play in making this happen. So I'm going to stop sharing the poll. Then I can go back to the slides and we can quickly wrap up, and so we can be done. A minute, a minute. So I'm going to move so super fast now. I'm going to move super fast, but then the slides will be made available, so you can always get the slides afterwards. All right. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for to everyone who participated. I just do not want it to be, just me talking. I wanted it to be, something engaging. Let everybody, share their perspective also, and that way we can have an inclusive society. Okay, as much as we want digital technology to also be very inclusive for rural farmers. It also begins with the way we also anchor our own discussions also. All right, so yeah, so now I just want to touch on a theoretical framework that I believe is very relevant to this conversation. I mean, there are quite a number of frameworks: the narrative policy framework, punctuation, equilibrium, and theory, quite a number of them, but I really believe that the multiple streams framework is very relevant to this study. I'm moving fast now because we are running out of time. All right, so yeah, so this frameworks believes that there are three major streams that needs to come together to create a policy window that policy entrepreneurs can leverage. And entrepreneurs here do not mean business people. No, it means advocate, like the agencies that can drive policy change, right? And one is the problem stream. Problem stream talks about the recognition that a problem exists, focusing events, like specific events that can actually draw attention to this problem. Certain indicators like statistics, data that can help to provide evidence, for whatever problem that is being brought to the attention of the government, and also a sense of urgency that the problem definition is very urgent, putting it out there, how urgent whatever situations that need policy intervention. I'm still going to narrow this down to the agricultural and agricultural extension that we're talking about. I'm just kind of giving an overview of the framework itself. Okay, so and the policy stream, talks about the presence of policies, frameworks, and proposals that can actually serve as alternative solution to whatever has been currently implemented. Like we always want better policies that can serve our rural communities, that can serve our farmers, more efficiently. Policy, communities like. This is part of a policy community. We're coming together to have this kind of, discussion, talks to the point that, yeah, the policy stream actually exists and everything is converging. There's a convergence at this point in time that, if well harnessed, can actually result in the change we want to see with our agricultural system, and specifically our agricultural extension system. Technical feasibility, how feasible are these things that the alternatives that are being brought, and then the policy entrepreneurs, the advocates themselves are also on ground to champion this cause. Then the politics stream talks about the political climate. I mean, some 2 years ago thereabouts, we had a new administration. I mean, these are kind of, this speaks to opportunities in the political climate that can actually be harnessed to push policies towards implementation, and the national mood and consensus building. We have a lot of groups that are coming together from NIFAS, to research and academic groups like ASIN and all of that. So I'm going to still explain this in the context of what we are talking about. I just wanted to give this kind of, background. The slides will be available. You can, go through them, later. But for us to really, contextualize it, in the aspect of agricultural extension, it's important for us to understand that, so far there has been a lot of beautiful policies in Nigeria. Some that speaks to agriculture, by itself, and some that also that are very complementary, bringing in the digital component, and particularly we also have policies that specifically addresses agricultural extension. Some of these policies, some way actually has elements of extension in them, and there's been an evolution, over time. And as I said earlier, personally, I strongly believe that whenever something is working in an administration, it can actually be adopted or adapted in another administration without having to completely overhaul and start all over. I mean, it's a kind of policy abortion, and it's not helping, our progress. It's like taking some steps forward and some other steps backward. We really need to do better as a country, right? And so these are some of the policies that's actually been implemented. I don't need to go into the details of them, but where I really want to talk about is why this is a very important period for us as a nation. I mean, the problem I already explained, the number of Nigerians that are currently, struggling with food insecurity, the amount of, naira that we are losing because we do not have efficient extension, system. Climate change is an issue, every other things. This is a stream. We've recognized this problem. Talking about the policy stream, we have frameworks ready. We have everything in paper. We have, a lot of beautiful, and we have proven technologies that have also been implemented, fragmented initiatives that, if well integrated and well coordinated, we can actually have a more sustainable, agricultural system, and, be able to leverage the opportunities that are inherent in our agricultural sector. And the politics stream, we have international interest in our digital agriculture. The Gates Foundation currently have some initiatives that are running in Nigeria, and even before Gates Foundation, the former, USAID, which is now Department of State, USAID, or USAID, as you want to call it. I mean, a lot of different initiatives from international bodies that are very interested and very invested, in our agricultural systems. And also, we have different stakeholders from NIFAS, Nigeria Forum for Agricultural Advisory Services, to ASIN, to quite a number of them. All of these things are there. And with new administration, and particularly the NIP that was actually introduced earlier this year, that's the National Electronic Extension Platform, actually speaks to the fact that the government is actually beginning to put more effort into ensuring that our extension system works, and ensuring that digital agricultural extension is actually leveraged for effective extension delivery, to smallholder farmers in rural communities. So it's a good sign. I mean, I know that for over time there has been a lot of struggle, like when I say struggle, like advocacy to ensure that the government prioritizes agricultural extension, services. And these are indicators that the government is ready. And when streams align, it's important that policy advocates like you and I, and me, it's important that we also play, our own part well. And so, and importantly, if one of the reasons we really need to leverage this period to be able to like push digital agricultural extension, and also, and not just, we've vis-a-vis some of the things we've talked about, like some of the important factors that we need to pay attention to in terms of content, infrastructure, and all of those things. Because for digital agricultural extension to work effectively, a lot of other structures need to be put in place. And that is why that's the role we need to play. Because, for example, now the NIP system has been put in place, right? That's the National Electronic Extension Platform. But how about infrastructure? How about electricity? How about internet facility? How about farmers being able to access the smartphones for themselves? How about all of these other issues that we've talked about? Contents that are relevant, and very, localized. How about all of these other, issues we talked about? And this, if we do not, ensure a very, the coordination and synergy among all of these things, this whole thing is going to be aborted.
Sorry, Mrs. But you have about 5 minutes more, so we can
All
have
right,
some
sounds good.
to take questions. Thank
All right,
you.
sounds good. I'm wrapping up in a minute. I'll wrap up, soon. All right, thank you. So if we do not, there's something at stake if we do not if we do not play our role, especially with this current convergence, the windows of opportunity that is before us. A lot of things can actually go wrong. International investors can choose another priorities. there's a lot of brain drain currently happening. People that are supposed to like make this thing work, the expertise are currently migrating. We do not want to get to a point where by the time we're not ready and we're put to infrastructure, everything in place, the people to make it work are no longer, in the country. And as I said earlier, the NIT DA, that's the National Information Technology Development Agency, that draft document, I'm not affiliated with them, but personally, I find that document very, 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 very compelling and very, very relevant to this conversation. And some of the things they actually highlighted are very significant for us to have an holistic, implementation that is going to be sustainable, that is going to ensure that our extension system is sustainable. And based on this framework that they have prepared, I came up with 3 different important aspects that we really need to pay attention to. One is the digital infrastructure and access, which I already explained earlier. I don't have to like go in depth with all of these things again. The slides are there. You can actually go through them, after this presentation to be able to like get the specifics of these things. Content development and capacity building, it's very important because we need to put, as the electronic system has been put in place, all of these other components needs to be strengthened so that these structures can be sustained. And also sustainability and scaling, it's very important. And beyond government funding, there are other ways through which we can actually access funds to scale our digital agricultural extension initiatives. Quite a number of them, from impact investment to value chain financing. It's all in there. And importantly, gender responsive digital extension. Women need to be paid, special attention to in all of our policy implementation and policy efforts. And also our youths are very, very important if all of these initiatives will be sustainable, because our youth can actually serve as, the contact persons to help, spread some of these, like diffuse some of these innovation in rural communities. And another thing is the governance structure, which is also in the NITDA document. In case if you do not, just go online, search for the NITDA draft Nigeria Digital Agricultural Strategy. You would actually find it online. It's a very robust policy document that if you take your time with it, you would actually appreciate, all of these things that has been put together to help coordinate our digital agricultural extension. And so the policy talks about what leadership model is going to work, fantastically for us, and to ensure that we're able to like sustain whatever initiative that is being implemented at this time. And importantly is the farmer-centric design, farmer-centric approach. Farmers need to be at the heart of every decision, of every innovation. And this is just a 5-year strategic roadmap. It could be a 10 years thing, but these are, strategic effort that needs to be put in place to ensure that whatever initiative, is backed up not just by policy, but the implementation, but of which finance is a major part of it. But we've also talked about some other alternatives that we can explore when it comes to funding, our digital extension, strategies. So as I said earlier, all of these things are in motion. We have different stakeholders that are ready to like make these things happen. The government is already implementing, taking action regarding some of these policies. So it's a very, good time for us to like coordinate, like put all of these, synergize all of these efforts to ensure sustainability. And I want you to see yourself as a stakeholder in this whole thing. I want you to see yourself, because if an extension platform is actually initiated or established, and all of these other factors to make it relevant to smallholder farmers are not put in place, then it's just another roller coaster of effort and futility, because at the end of the day, it's not going to be sustainable. At the end of the day, it's not meeting the needs, it's not relevant to farmers, it's not farmer responsive, So we really need to be, and for us as individuals, we have to be able to like go all in. And 3 things very important. We need to continue talking about the challenges inherent beyond the platform that has been implemented by the government, beyond the NIP platform. All of these other structures need to be put in place. We have to keep talking about it. We should not allow problem fatigue. We have to keep talking about these things until they listen to us. The stream, we need to be able to, ensure that all of these, policies and coordination, like stakeholder coordination, is actually prioritized in the policy in the policy corridor. Then also lastly, we need to be able to strengthen the stakeholder and ensure that we do not the stakeholders are coming together, different forums are being organized, different. We need to ensure, because one thing that will sustain that is action. When we see the kind of result that we want, it's going to encourage stakeholders, it's going to encourage, policy advocates, to keep doing what they've been doing. So we really want to ensure that we are well coordinated, we synergize all of this effort together, and we hold the government accountable beyond giving us an extension platform. What other infrastructures are in place to ensure that it is very responsive and very relevant to the farmers that it is supposed to serve? Because at the end of the day, we do not want another thing of bragging rights of different administration, for the government, of a capital opportunity for private, private companies, private sector. We want it to be farmer centric, something that really works for farmers, something that is really sustainable for farmers. And yeah, thank you so much. At this point, I'm open to contributions, feedbacks, and questions. Yeah, we had to rush, we had to move fast, but it's okay. These slides will be made available so you can take your time. I mean, it's a very robust, rich document. You can take your time and go through them. All right, so questions, discussions, contributions. The floor is open.
Wow, thank you very much for that wholesome presentation. We've learned a lot from this presentation. Please, can we give our presenter a thumbs up? I want to see reactions. You've learned one thing or the other from the presentation. Thank you very much for that presentation. Oh, shortly, okay, before I continue, if you've not filled the attendance sheet, kindly refer to the in-call messages and pick the link from there to fill the attendance sheet. Thank you very much for that presentation. Thank you for reminding us that we need localized solutions across each agroecological zone in Nigeria. I think one of the things that also stood out for me was the Kingdom Multiple Streams framework that you explained, where you talked about the three streams: the problem stream, the politics stream, and the policy stream, as these three streams work together to lead to policy change. So if you have questions, although we have some questions in the chat box, I think I'll be taking one of the questions because of our time. Okay, I'm going through the chat box now. Okay, Mr. Divine Oha, he typed here in the chat box that in FAO Sokoto pilot, women farmers were excluded because SMS messages mostly went to men. While in Ebonyi, literate farmers ignored weather alerts written only in English. What inclusive policy mechanisms, for example, language localization, voice-based platforms, gender-sensitive outreach, are needed to ensure women, youth, and marginalized groups benefit equally from digital advisory systems?
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, Mercy. And thanks, Damilola. Well, interestingly, it seems to me, one thing I like about this question is the fact that the answer to the question is in the question. All right, so talking about inclusive policy mechanisms, I mean, you talked about language localization, very important to ensure that policy is inclusive. Voice-based platforms, very important. So, I mean, not just voice-based platform, even video extension is a thing. It's working very well in India. Video extension is a thing that can also be community, because communities have to come together to put these resources together. So when it's community-led, community-driven, it also helps to ensure that it is inclusive, and also gender-sensitive outreach. Like you said it all. So if women are not participating, it's important that, okay, yeah, so we want to analyze the situation. Why are they not participating? Once we're able to do, a succinct, situation analysis, then we can map a strategy to reach out to these women. Okay, so what's the best approach to reach out to them? And as a trend extension, practitioner, one of the tools we use is FGD, because that way when you're doing during a participatory engagement with farmers, one of the tools that can help ensure that you are able to capture women's voice separately from men is the focus group discussion, because focus group discussion actually works with gender disaggregate, like segregation. So you want to like have the women focus group separately, the men, so that way you can interact with the women to know what exactly is the reason for their their lack of engagement, the non-engagement with all these resources that are being made available. And that way we can now come up with strategies and solutions to rectify those kind of issues. I hope that answers your questions, Divine.
Thank you very much, Ma, for providing answers to that question. Mr. Sahid Rahman noted in the chat box that a collaborative effort is needed by stakeholders in agriculture on the issue of infrastructural development. A country that does not have a provision for farmers will actually struggle to feed its teeming population. Thank you for that. I also noticed that some of our participants have raised their hands. Olaide Ashiobi, are you ready to ask your question? I notice you have your hands raised.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello? Can you hear me?
You're audible. You can go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm glad I've learned a lot about the technology aspect of it, whereby we talked about the different technologies that has to do with smartphones and all. We all know that farmers are with rural farmers majorly, and the network that is available there is not a good network to say, because there are poor network. So what they use is basically USSD and call. So I want to know, what do you think is the role of an extension for, maybe we can have something like a help desk line, just like telecoms, that when you have issues, they will call, and then they will call, you'll be able to resolve their queries and then give them tips about it. So since pending the time that we'll have a network that is good, I don't know if it is out of place to have an helpline, or is there anyone that is in the system that I don't know? Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much. That's a very, very good, very valid question. Thank you, Olaide. All right, so talking about a helpline, yeah, this is something that has actually been piloted by different organizations, different institutions. I'm very familiar with that of IART, because Dr. Angela Fadairo was actually the head of that initiative. So there was actually a helpline that farmers can actually call and get help, and so these things are actually in existence. As I said earlier, we have a lot of fragmented initiatives, but we need more coordinated approach to ensure that, one, there's no unnecessary duplicity of effort, and two, we are able to optimize the limited resources that we have, and also three, we're able to scale, have the more universal and broader, coverage with regards to extension system. So it's actually in existence. You might want to reach IRT to learn more about that particular initiative of theirs. I don't know if it's still currently being implemented, but I know that was something that was actually implemented by IRT at some point. People could call in, get information, and all of that. I know a lot of this initiative also is funding dependent, and that's why we talked about other funding streams that could actually be explored, because sometimes a lot of our research institutes and universities, whenever they have access to funds, they're able to implement different programs and projects, but immediately the fund ends, then it also stalls. So we also want to think about other funding mechanisms to ensure that once maybe a major grant ends, we are able to sustain whatever initiative that was actually vetted during that era. I hope that answers your question, Elijah.
Yeah, at least I'm clear. Thank you. You said
And IART
IRT,
is
right?
international. IART. It's in a partner. Check it out. Sorry.
Institute for Agricultural Research and
Institute
Training.
for
Research and training. Yeah,
More
thank you.
plantation.
Yeah, more plantation. Yeah.
Thank you very much for presenting an answer to that. A couple of our participants have requested for the slides, so kindly fill the attendance. We'll be sharing it to your mail after the webinar. We'll be taking one more question. Mr. Tunde Oguntade, are you ready? In a minute. Mr. Tunde Oguntade.
Yes, hello. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. You're audible. You can ask your question.
Question, my question is that the extension office for each of the for farmers. What I observe is that how can we make it to be more accessible to the farmers in terms of information in order to for them to be know that we have extension in this also area where and we can go there if they have any issue on their farm as well as their farming techniques. How can we make it more available to each of the, even if not all the town? How can we make it available? Because most of the farmers they don't they always believe in the physical interactions. That is my question. How can we make it available?
Yeah, all right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Tunde. All right, to answer your question, I would like to, Dr. Badru, thanks for your contribution. I'd like to link your question to Dr. Badru's contribution, then now share my perspective. All right, Dr. Badru talked about, the need for state government to step up, because usually they're always the weakest link. And I very much agree with his thoughts. And if you look at, I couldn't talk much a lot about the governance structure that the NITDA framework came up with. In fact, alongside NITDA is state government and local government. So it's important that state government and local government actually step up, and so that we are able to strengthen this system. All right. So back to your question. The truth is that digital agricultural extension is supposed to, it's not totally going to replace the traditional extension in the sense of the human capital, because even with the digital agricultural, I mean, maybe not yet, maybe in a couple of years time down the line, maybe that might happen, but for now we still need humans. We still need humans to disseminate the information, diffusion of innovation, right? We still need humans to take it to them. We need humans to train them in the use of it. We need humans. So it's not gonna, not at this time, it's not gonna replace, extension workers yet, not yet, and maybe not ever, but it's not gonna replace them, because we still need extension workers to go in there and all. So, and that is why it's important that, the local structures, are strengthened from the local government to the state government. And talking about how do we increase, how do farmers get to know about this thing? That's, I believe that's where the state ADPs, comes in. We can actually, go all out, do intense awareness creation, and not just awareness alone, because awareness without the necessary know-how, to take advantage of these technologies is still not going to yield any result. So we're creating awareness, we are also training them. And when it comes to training, I strongly believe that every community should have for example, we call it contact person, right? But in this time, someone that can be trained and can retrain, train the trainer kind of initiative. So even when extension agents go, they can train somebody that is more literate, then the person can organize more sessions, with the less literate people. Because if we want to wait till one person can train everybody, it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of fatigue that will come in also. So I think that's something we can also explore, the train the trainer approach. And it's important that our local agricultural, department, the state governments, the ADPs, also up their games. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for providing an answer to that question. We'll be taking the last question for this webinar series. from Dr. Nathaniel Umitigbe.
Okay, yeah. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to apologize for the fact that there is so much background noise at my end. In an unfamiliar, unusual environment. So I sincerely apologize. So wonderful presentation. I had a meeting earlier, so I couldn't join as early as I wanted to. But I think the much time I've spent here has been very, very interesting and enlightening. So mine is just an observation. We have a structural problem with the agricultural extension system in Nigeria, and there is hardly any part of the system that you are analyzing from any angle from, I mean, of the structure. You are analyzing the issues from. There are always gaps. For example, you can argue from the angle of how well coordinated are we is the agric extension systems. When you talk about different stakeholders, of course, that are supposed to be doing agricultural extension business together, how well coordinated are we? The truth of the matter is we are not coordinated. And that can, I mean, I don't want to x-ray that further, but to just mention a few ones, maybe we have several players that are, for example, not mainstreamed properly into the reviews system or reviews model that should ordinarily guide the agricultural extension operation in Nigeria. We have so many, for example, actors here and there. Extension Africa is there. We have Crop to Cash. We have so many players. Dami was mentioning some digital initiatives that are being funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. All of them are there. We were part of a research and engagement recently that was supposed to metamorphose into research, but then, of course, we could not proceed beyond a certain level for certain challenges. But that opportunity gave us an idea of what is also happening in the digital agriculture extension space. All right. But the truth of the matter is, many of the players within the digital agricultural extension space or digital agriculture space are not known to many stakeholders. And this is pointing to the fact that the structure itself is not well coordinated. We can also argue from the point of view of how the fact that even the agricultural extension system is also over concentrated. The decentralization, of course, we should talk about how extension is expected to be implemented at the level of grassroots, maybe to the community level. Before now, the EDP system made it so easy, but today, because I mean the World Bank funding regime is already over, a lot of structural issues, nothing is happening at the local level, at the community level. And we are also talking about digital agriculture extension strategy by NITDA. I was trying to also read, and the question is, if you ask some stakeholders, I mean, stakeholders at state level, stakeholders at local government level, all right, stakeholders at state level are expected to be maybe extension agents or people in the ministry. Many of them do not know what is happening, what this document is all about. And so a whole lot of things are ongoing, and many supposed stakeholders are at best not aware, not even talk about keying into the I mean into the system and play their role as they are expected to play. So, but then yes, we can also argue from the angle of policy. How responsive is our policy? Then the fact that we have not also legislated, it has not gotten to the level of legislation, is also leaving, I mean, very big gaps in how our operations are carried out. And so it's a whole lot of issues. All right. So, but then it's not good to keep lamenting and lamenting and lamenting. And as Dami was speaking, I was just saying, how do we take this discussion further? To what end? I mean, are we supposed to just doing this kind of talking that is so explosive and enlightening and just forget about it? I was opportune to be at Abuja just this week, earlier this week, and on Tuesday, we had a stakeholder meeting where we did a validation exercise on agricultural extension tool that is being developed by AGRA for different countries in Africa. And there I was able to meet with the NIFAS president, who is also very energetic and passionate about the operation of agricultural extension in Nigeria. And we are thinking of a forum later this year wherein stakeholders will come around and of course make presentations, not like the usual agricultural extension conference where it's all about abstract or quantitative data. This kind of insights can be presented, and we are looking at the possibility of having a policy brief, all right, that is representative of course, ideas that are very critical to what is happening in the agric extension space. And we are hopeful that from the level of policy brief, we can back it up with further action so that whatsoever discussions we have at our different levels that are as interesting and captivating as this has been, for example, we can always take it to the next
Thank you
level.
very much, Dr. Nathaniel. Thank you
Okay,
for your
thank you. Thank you. I'm
observation.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your observation and the call to action that we all as stakeholders have a role to play. So due to time constraints, we'll be unable to take further questions for this webinar series, but we hope our participants will join us in upcoming brown bag series. Just be on the lookout. We're having another brown bag series coming up in October this year. So I'll be handing over to our administrative manager here at PiLAF for closing remarks.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. And I would like to, first and foremost, thank you all for staying tuned from the start of this seminar till now. I believe a key indicator of assessing a virtual session is the percentage of those who stay from start till the end, and I think it's it's quite high, and I think it means that the session was really engaging. I was also in and out of the session because I had one or two other meetings that coincided with the same time we had this. So I must thank the presenter, Mrs. Damilola Olajubutu. She's indeed we are proud of her. She's an ambassador of PiLAF, and having worked with us before moving to the US for further studies. We are really, really, happy with your progress. I could see passion from in your presentation. It just shows how much you love what you're doing. Your presentation was full of passion, and it shows that this is your calling. And I think you really dealt with a lot of the key issues. Digital extension, we all know, is the way forward. There is a very what do I call it? The ratio of extension officers to farmers is quite low, and the only way new technologies and so many other things from innovations can get to farmers is through the digital channels. And that was why in one of the questions you asked, I feel that infrastructure is be of priority. That's my opinion. Developing infrastructure that will enable digital services to be distributed, to get to the core rural areas, where we have majority of our smallholder farmers. So I think this topic, is quite timely, and we thank you very much. I also watched the video, your presentation at the UN in the US, just I think some weeks ago, a month ago, and I could also see the passion with which you presented, made your point clearly. Well done to you. We are grateful. Thank you for your time. Coming up with PowerPoint slides, it takes a lot of time, effort, and it's just rich. And we'll promise to share this, I think you're allowing us, you are giving us the permission to share with all participants, right? Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
thank
sure,
you. So
sure.
so I'm going to share these PowerPoint slides to all the participants. And please, for those who have not filled the attendance list, please fill it so that you will be permanently on our database and you can get more information, on about PiLAF and especially our brown bag series. I also want to acknowledge, Damilola's teachers here, Dr. Nat, Dr. Badru. I think who else joined? Somebody, Dr. Ibetu joined. So for me, it also speaks to how much of how much you are valued, and the fact that you were a good student, yeah, and you remain a good one, and you're a great ambassador. So I'm sure they're also proud of you. Uh, so I would want to thank everybody who joined from far and near. I see people from Kebbi State, from NERLS, University of Ibadan students, other faculty staff here. I think NISA, somebody from NISA, and then I think we have quite a diverse set of participants. So I think we can all Gombe State. Thank you, Dr. Sani Madi. Thank you, Funab. Thank you. I can see so quite a diverse participants, from various places. So please, if by chance you get any of our notification, you could share widely, to your to friend. Okay, Mr. Jayo Moladi, friend, thank you. I see you there. Thank you. So please let us on the. We will continue to talk. We will not stop talking. There's a lot of work to be done to transform the agricultural sector, and we are all key actors. We are, each and every one of us are key actors. And then, what we can do within our space, let us do it. We are not policymakers. We are not, but we can advise. We will keep talking. We will not get tired, right? It can be tiring, but we shouldn't get tired if we really desire the change we want. So we should continue having this kind of conversations. Let us continue talking. And I can assure you that all of these engagements have their influence right beyond the time should. I'd like to thank you all once again on behalf of the principal investigators of PiLAF, Professor Adeola Adenikiju and Professor Adegbenga Adekoya. I would like to thank you all, and also acknowledge for anchoring this event so well. Please, Burime, Dorcas, and session. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You didn't acknowledge Mr. Babadara, who just left. Okay. Sani, Madi.
Thank you.